Okay, let's get into it. If you're working at the very edge of AV, with the latest gaming consoles or these huge cinematic displays, you have one job.
Push all that data without a single compromise.
Exactly. But the second you try to distribute that signal, you hit this massive bandwidth wall.
Mm.
So our mission today is a deep dive into a piece of hardware that's meant to tear that wall down. We're looking at the Blustream SP24AB-8K 4-way 8K HDMI splitter.
Yeah, and this is so necessary because we're really past the point of just, simple signal copying. This is about keeping the signal's integrity at maximum speed.
So what's the core idea here?
It's actually pretty straightforward. You've got two HDMI 2.1 inputs you can choose from.
Okay.
And it takes whichever one you select and splits it perfectly across 4 separate HDMI outputs, all at the same time. It's the heart of any complex modern setup, really.
The sources mention a bandwidth of 40 gigabits per second. Now, that's a lot, but HDMI 2.1 can go up to 48, right?
It can.
So are we already sort of limiting ourselves by not hitting that absolute maximum?
That is a great question. And in this case, yeah, 40 gigabits is the ceiling. And that number, it really defines the trade-offs you have to make.
What kind of trade-offs?
Well, to get that absolute peak resolution, we're talking 8K at 60 hertz, you have to run it using YCbCr 4.2.0 10-bit color.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of where the hardware is right now.
Okay, so for someone focused purely on visual quality, what does that 4.2.0 color compression actually mean? Are we giving up noticeable color just to get that big 8K number on the box?
You've hit it right on the head. When you drop to 4.2.0, you are cutting down the color information a lot. It's fine for, movies and things you watch from a distance.
Wait, not for pristine color.
Not for perfect color, no. For that, you use the other ceiling the splitter supports. 4K at 120 hertz with full RGB, or 4.4.4 10-bit color. That 4K 120 hertz mode, that's the aha moment for most people. It's just pure, uncompromised performance.
And that 4K 120 number is a huge signal for who this is really for, gamers. Because it's not just the refresh rate, it also supports ALM and VRR.
Auto low latency mode and variable refresh rate.
Yes.
If you think about the big picture, those are the key signals for high-performance displays.
Right.
ALM makes your TV jump into game mode instantly. VRR, well, it's like a conductor, making sure the frames from the console never get out of sync with the screen's refresh rate.
So the splitter's main job is just to make sure those signals get through cleanly?
Cleanly and to all 4 outputs, yes. That's the challenge.
Okay, so performance is one thing, but what about just using it? How do you switch between your two sources without messing up that fragile, high-speed signal?
The control system has to be rock solid for that exact reason. You get 2 ways to do it. First is auto switching.
How does that work?
It just senses the 5-volt hot plug or a new TMDS signal.
Right.
Think of them as little electronic handshakes that say, hey, I'm on and I'm sending video.
So it knows when a new device powers on?
Precisely. But you still have manual buttons on the front and, of course, standard IR remote control.
And for anyone building a system, this next part is crucial. It tackles compliance. I mean, you need HDCP 2.3 for this stuff to even work.
It's non-negotiable for protected 8K content. But what really holds a multi-screen setup together is the advanced EDR management.
Explain that.
The splitter basically, it can trick the source device. It tells your console or player, hey, send a signal that all 4 of these screens can definitely handle.
Yeah.
It stops the whole system from failing if one screen is slightly different from the others.
I was also glad to see they didn't skimp on the audio side. I mean, it passes through all the big formats like Dolby Atmos and DTS HD.
Right, but the physical breakout is the really interesting part.
Yeah, tell me about that.
You're not just stuck with the audio in the HDMI stream. You can pull it out at the same time to both an analog 3.5mm stereo jack and a coaxial SPDIF digital output.
And who's that for?
I mean, think about the AV enthusiast who has a fantastic, maybe older, high-end stereo amp that doesn't have any HDMI inputs. This lets them connect their brand new 8K source to their legacy audio gear. It's incredibly versatile.
So to wrap this up, we've seen how this one box, the Blustream SP24AB-8K, manages this really intense 40 gigabit bandwidth. It's future-proofing for 8K while also giving you the critical features like VRR for today's gaming.
And it's all in a surprisingly small package. I mean, the casing is barely 20 centimeters long. Plus, it has a 5-year warranty, which tells you it's built for professional use.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. If you look at where content is going, especially in gaming and live sports, frame rates are constantly getting pushed higher, 120 Hz and beyond.
So does that mean that flexible systems that really prioritize smooth, motion-like 4K, 120 Hz with perfect color are actually more important for the modern home theater than systems that just chase the highest possible static resolution, like 8K 60 Hz with compromised color? That's the high bandwidth choice you now have to make.